Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
Axon reported another really great quarter in the second quarter of 2023. I want to cover the results a little bit today, but I want to cover two things that I think are going to keep fueling the company's growth for a very long time to come. I've been covering Axon for about a decade now, and one of the most impressive things about the business is that they start with this core and then they keep tacking on really valuable pieces. And I think there's two more that are going to be added in the future. So that's what I'm going to dig into today. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And if you like this video, check out my newsletter, Asymmetric Investing, in the show notes. I want to cover a few of the high-level numbers to just show how impressive Axon's business has been recently. This doesn't get a lot of attention, but actually Axon's biggest business is still the TASER business, $154.4 million in revenue in the most recent quarter, and a 60% margin. That's just really impressive for a hardware business and a product that's relatively old at this point. They do keep updating the products, but tasers have been around for a very long time and have been the core for Axon for a very long time. So just very impressive. This continues to grow at a 4% year-over-year rate. But what has been the most exciting piece of the business over the last decade has really been sensors and other, which is cameras. $87.6 million in revenue, a 53% gross margin. This gross margin number has come up over time. I think one of the things that Axon used to do is use a more razor blade model where the camera would be relatively low margin and then the high margin would come in the cloud services. But that has really reversed. Camera margins are really starting to come up. 28% growth on the revenue side year over year and a 10% increase in gross margin. Just very impressive numbers on the hardware side. And then the software side, or the cloud side, is really where Axon is growing tremendously. 62% growth year over year, nearly a 70% gross margin, which you can see right here. And there are a few ways that Axon has done this. And one is moving to contracted bundles. So what they'll do is they'll sell a taser, camera, and then cloud services into law enforcement. And then law enforcement pays on a monthly basis in a per seat basis or per officer basis, whatever the fee is for those products and services. And then tasers get updated every couple of years, same thing with cameras. But Axon can have a long-term contract, sometimes 10 years, with a law enforcement agency, locks in that revenue, and then gives that law enforcement agency stability in knowing what their equipment is going to look like. So these are the products that are often bundled together. What we see in financial results is something like this. I'm going to start on the right here because Axon has not been doing this forever. In 2018, 55% of total revenue was tied to subscription bundles. That is now over 90%. So big change in the way the company has operated its business. As a result, annual recurring revenue, and this is just SaaS recurring revenue, so that cloud services have grown 44% on a compound annual basis to $559 million. Just really impressive how well these products have worked together. So one of the things we want to think about is how do you expand that bundle? How do you make it even more valuable for law enforcement? And that's where some news that happened in the second quarter I think is really meaningful. You can see here that Axon acquired Sky Hero. This is a company that makes robots, drones. I'll show their site here to show a few of their products, but this is a flying drone. This is a drone that you would use typically in an indoor environment. So going into an environment where you don't want to send an officer in. And then there's a handheld controller. So another set of devices that Axon can bundle in with its other services and also tie in the video feeds into their cloud services. So just another piece of value that they can add. They have been playing around with drones for quite a while now, but it doesn't seem like it has been a particularly successful piece of the business. This could really take these products to the next level, especially bringing them in-house. The cost of these kind of drone products has really come down over the years. At the same time, Axon has increased its presence in the cloud business. So there's just more money available to be able to build out a significant business in drones and something that would just be sitting in an officer's car. I think that's ultimately the goal for something, whether it's a flying drone or whether it's a driven drone like this. Again, this is about Axon expanding in adjacent markets and just adding more value to its customers. So I think ultimately that's the kind of growth that we would like to see as investors, not only growing the existing product base, but also what's in the bundle for the future. If we look at what Axon sees as its $50 billion total addressable market, You can see a few of the main pieces of their business here: digital evidence management, real-time operations, camera hardware, Axon Air, so this would be the drones, and then AR and VR training. That's another thing that they're building out over time. Tasers, obviously a big part of their business. And then this final one, this is the other thing I wanted to cover, is personal protection. This did not get a lot of attention in the conference call or in the earnings release. Very, very, very small business for Axon, but something that I would actually like to see them push into more. These are the products that they're making in personal protection. This would align with the company's mission to replace the bullet. That's what they're trying to do for law enforcement. Now, the next step would be to take that mission to the personal level and say personal protective equipment. Instead of carrying a gun, you would carry a taser. You can see the Pulse and the Professional series look very similar to a typical weapon. The other two, the Bolt and the Strike Light, are a little bit more of a unique design. I think that's where taser could really enter into the personal protective market, is by making a product that looks very different than a typical weapon. But management sees this potentially as a $4.6 billion market. So a very big addressable market, not something that they've really tapped into, but again, another way that they're going to be able to grow in the future. The most impressive thing about Axon's business is they continue to grow both the geographies that they're serving, the products that they're serving, and now they're adding more and more adjacent products and services. So this is why the company can continue to grow at a 20+% rate year after year, is there's just such a huge addressable market, and they're adding so much value, making law enforcement's lives easier, making the criminal justice system easier. And then I think the next step is really moving into that personal market. We know that they're making tasers for personal use, but is the next step to move into things like home security cameras that could then be tied into law enforcement, provide that live feed that you get from a police officer's body camera right now. I think there's still a lot of ways that Axon can grow. And that's what's so impressive about the business. That's why the stock continues to do very well. That's why I continue to hold it. A lot to like about Axon right now. Very expensive stock. I think that's worth noting. Investors are willing to pay up for a high quality company like this, and it's not one that I'm selling anytime soon. But what do you think of the results from Axon? What do you think about their future? Love to hear your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.